Nature of the self and its cultural concept. It is academically significant that the self will be studied, preserved, and understood. It is vital to know where a Filipino adolescent came from and what cultural reason they embrace where it is also necessary. According to Sigmund Freud, teenagers' interaction with people are behaviorally complicated could be a form of defense mechanism. It could be also a sudden response of adolescents' conformity to the norm of where they live with. They are transparently transmitted from generation to generation. A Philippine published book entitled Family, The Set of Education has a beautiful message to every adolescent. Every man being made in the image and likeness of God serves and minimum regards. SIR is required and preserved through what is commonly called pakikisama. Pakikisama comes from the Tagalog root sama, which means to accompany or go along with. Typical adolescent's behavior exemplifies this very well. Southeast Asian Science Foundation, 1990. In our dialect, there are two ways of being pakikisama. We can influence someone, or maybe, and we will be influenced. As added from the book of Southeast Asian Science Foundation, pakikisama becomes an obstacle rather than a means for self-development. To notes of his or her attitudinal boundaries and limitation, traces the source where the situation conflict happened, preempts the possible ways if he or she negatively responds, determines the possible way of he or she positively understand, and counts 100 before experiencing emotions. Self-esteem is the study of Bed, Astrea, and Estelia entitled Self-Esteem and Family Relationship found out that adolescents with close family ties and mutually interacting with positively influenced that added high self-esteem. Their study considers a better sense of perception towards family has a bigger connection with high self-esteem. Based on the findings of Pedrusa 2006, the study of self-esteem and oral competence in English of second-year college students of the University of the Southeastern Philippines, Tagum, compass the following conclusion are stated. Number 1. The participants of the study have high perceptions of themselves in the time aspects, namely the physical, material self, social self, and personal or spiritual self. Number 2. 35% of 43 of the participants of the study are speakers or below average. It is conducted that the participants' high perception of avoid being caught in embracing situations due to poor oral communication. According to Pedrusa 2006, self-esteem is a result of an accumulated negative or positive self-concept. Fellowship or the prestige associated with having human needs or trophies can be no cause for such an act. Fellowship may be expressed positively in the Lusong o Bayanihan. Utang na loob is first featured as part of Philippine life in 1663 when Colin said that the kapalangay or residents of the barangay to Adato may give of the proceeds of his effort because of the paternalistic relationship between the rules and the ruled. There is also an intrafamily utang na loob. At Tagalog saying goes ang hindi marunong lumingon sa pangangailangan na hindi makarating sa paruroonan. Utang na loob result from this arrangement for the relative as adopted develops filial ties with the adopted develops family until his death. Loara 1502. It is indicated, for example, that Panay had no judge, but they have mediators who go from one party to another facilitate reconciliation. This acts as the sanction of fear or shame, an uncomfortable feeling that accompanies awareness of being in a society and acceptable position. Anything that brings hiya is avoided. As the Filipino saying goes, hindi baling wag mo akong mahalin, wag mo lang akong hiyain. Sometimes being matiisin sa hiya is not just observed at home but is usually experienced by many poor Filipinos in the community where they belong. There are the things teenagers did not know that to overcome trials within the limits of poverty gravely affects some disposition in the family. There is what teenagers need to know that most parents want to. A. Prevent children from self-pity over improvised situations. B. Preserve self-image of the family, and C. Maintain family survival. Another interesting Filipino traits according to Southeast Asian Science Foundation 1990 stressed that other modes of behavior is often attributed to the Filipino traits. Self-awareness. According to Gardner 1982, as cited by De La Cruz, Luzo, and Mapue 2005, there are a number of factors that the children should know about self-awareness. A. Be aware of their own body's appearance, state, and size, or body size. B. Be able to refer to themselves appropriately through language and be able to distinguish description which apply to set and which do not. C. Be aware of their own personal history, experiences, they have had skills and abilities acquired, their own needs and wishes. It only shows that anyone can have self-awareness if they will be able to adapt and adjust from the impulse and preserve for people around. Positive emotional self-awareness. Mastering the self means being totally aware of who you are and what you are capable of doing. This also means that know your limitations and weaknesses. In order to have a positive emotions awareness and strongly conform to people, the best approach is that we consider the following.
Pedrosa 2006 did specify that in USEP Tagum City, second-year college students are taught in English subject in a large classes of approximately 40 or 50 students. Students are able to listen and comprehend lectures in English but have difficulty in speaking using the English language. Many of them avoid being caught in embarrassing situations due to poor oral communication. According to Pedrosa 2006, self-esteem is a result of an accumulated negative or positive self-concept. A man or a woman who receive positive feedback from adults affirming his or her many good acts while still young grows to be a self-confident man or a woman. In other hand, if a child grows in a negative remarks in many of his or her actions grows to be afraid and not sure of himself. However, in the book of Magalona and Sadsad 2008 supports Pedrosa's findings that self-esteem is the confidence and pride of you have in yourself. Self-concept is tied to one's self-esteem. People with self-esteem are happy and optimistic in life. Emotional hang-ups are often are brought about by the inability of the individual to appreciate his existence and therefore fail in this life. However, if a person can identify himself as a somebody who can significantly contribute something to his early life, he can clearly determine that he is important and has existence serves a purpose. How self interrelates with self schemas. The difference between self concept, self esteem, social self, and self knowledge are the following. One, self-concept is cognitive and perceptive bearing of the self. Examples, I am a good listener. Self-esteem is a evaluative and dogmatic example. I am a proud being of a good listener. Social self is a normative or collective. Example, I am a proud because my teacher told me that I am a good listener. Self-knowledge is self. Mastery or self-apprehension. Example, I know in many ways that I am a good listener. In fact, I can listen while I read. I've done that several times. Example, self-concept is a comprehensive of oneself schemas as it interact favorably with the self-esteem, self-knowledge, and social self in order to design the self fully. It contains the past, present, and future selves. where future selves characterize one's idea of what one feasibly be in life, which is also known as possible self, that direct an individual to gain a motivation as a form of reinforcement that certainly change behavior, what one intend to be or what one is frightened of developing. Example, self-concept. Self-concept, the study of Silva 2005 on attitudes towards families, gender, interpersonal relationship, and self-concept in relation to academic performance. Basis for guidance service program was considered as one of the evidence coming up with these findings. 1. Study responded are all adolescents in the third year level aging 15 years old. Respondents 2. Respondents have served emotional conflicts toward father, though they have positive attitude towards family. 3. Students have healthy concept about women and heterosexual relationship. 4. Respondents have a feeling of uncomfortable relationship with friends. And more of the study of Silva. Pedrosa 2006 differs from that of Silva's adolescent study on self-concept in the assertion of individual responses whether affecting academic performance or not, but it both emerge almost a similar impact on assessing self-knowledge through strength and limitation of adolescence. Study of Vatican 2011 revealed that measuring self-concept was never easy, especially citing adolescents. A model using two factors quantified to 15 dimensions like independent self-constructual, also known as INDSC, physical attributes, scholastic competence, athletic competence, artistic expression, autonomy and independence, global self-worth, financial capacity, goal settings, and gender and sex. In comparison, Harlock on 1982 emphasized that successful adolescents will be in their attempts to improve their personality. First, they must set ideals that are realistic and attainable for them. Second, they must make a realistic assessment of their strength and weaknesses. Third, adolescent must have a stable self-concept. Fourth, and the most of all, adolescent must be reasonably well satisfied with their achievements and eager to make improvement in any area in which they feel deficient. Attitudes towards self those determines how happy and well adjust the individual will be. By Harlock 1982. That's all and thank you.